What's going on, guys? It's Ozzy at the Columbia Basin Home Group, licensed real estate broker here in the Tri-Cities area. And a little change of scenery. I'm not in my office. I'm right here at my house. I'm not gonna show you guys around because it's a bit of a mess, but let's move forward. So today's topic, how to win in a competitive offer situation. So there's many things that you can do as far as getting your offer accepted. First and foremost, of course, writing up the best offer possible as far as offers go. So instead of putting in your offer at X amount, you're willing to go 20 grand above offer price or 30 or what have you. Another thing that you can do apart from money, you can also try to seek the best financing type. So a lot of times in this market, sellers, they would rather see a conventional offer instead of an FHA offer. And the reason being is that a lot of times with FHA offers or FHA loans, they're federally backed loans, whereas conventional, they're more of privately backed loans that they're more flexible as far as the condition of the property. FHA, they tend to be a little bit more scrutinous as far as the inspection appraisal process. For instance, they'll require peeling paint to be peeled off, sanded, and painted. They'll require the roof to be in certain good condition. They'll require water tank straps. If it's a manufactured home, it'll have to be built after 1976. Of course, it may vary depending on some lenders and their overlays. And if a whole mess of different things that will have to be inspected and certified, like by LNI or what have you. So a lot of times throwing a conventional offer as opposed to an FHA offer is a lot more beneficial in the seller's eyes. Another thing that you can do is that you can choose to waive your inspection. Now, a lot of times I don't necessarily condone it, but if you feel that the property is in great condition, if you know a thing or two about construction or you're a contractor yourself, then by all means, it's not a bad option. Another thing that you can do apart from that is you can guarantee the seller X amount if the property doesn't appraise. And it's a certain form that we use. It's the form 22AD. It's increased down payment in case of low appraisal addendum. So at which point you as the buyer would have the option to guarantee the seller a certain amount. Now, it could be 5 grand, 10 grand, any subjective number, but it incentivizes the seller to choose your offer in the case of a low appraisal, because it does happen with this market. And if you do have that contingency there or addendum, then it does help your case in the case of a multiple offer situation. Now, another thing that you can do if you don't want to throw out your highest and best is you can choose to use the escalation addendum. So what the escalation addendum is pretty much, instead of throwing an offer for X amount, you're telling the seller, I'm going to give you an offer starting at X amount, but I'm willing to go up to Y in the case of another competing offer. And I'll be willing to beat out the next competing offer in increments of Z. So let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, a property is listed at 250. And I'm willing to put an escalation or an offer with an escalation for 250 up to 300, and I'm willing to beat out the next competing offer in increments of 5 grand. So if someone comes in, old Joe Schmo buyer comes in with an offer at 275, then I automatically beat out that competing offer by increment of 5 grand. So at which point my offer would win at 280, if that makes sense. And apart from that, guys, shortening your inspection contingencies. If you feel that you don't want to waive that, you could do a 3-day inspection contingency period. You can a whole slew of different things. You can do rent back and let the seller take or rent the property back to you for X amount of days until they find their property. And the biggest thing is just have your agent call the listing agent and ask what's most important to their seller. But yeah, guys, with that said, that's a couple of different items that you can choose to use in a competing offer situation. Now, of course, consult your broker. And if you don't have a broker, then contact me. Phone number is 509-531-6869. Thank you guys and take care.